What is going on, people? It is your boy Soulfist, fresh off the presses of Justice League. This movie was great. The opening shot of this movie is probably the greatest opening to a movie I've seen in a long time. It just it it, it just it was just so good to see. I don't know. It made me smile. The very first shot in this movie just will make you smile. It really will. It's fantastic. It was gorgeously done. Outside of that, the rest of this movie is fantastic. Um, I'm not even sure if I'm going to sit here and review it. I guess I could say overall, the film was competent. It had all the Zack Snyder visuals you think it had, but tonally did not feel. I don't know. This movie definitely wasn't bad in it by any means. I could tell stuff was removed from it, but then I heard this movie was supposed to be 2 hours and 45 minutes. I can definitely tell stuff was removed, but it was a better edit than the Batman v Superman edit they put in theaters. This movie wasn't incoherent, but that's because its plot was overall pretty simple. And this movie, with its very, very simple plot, is Steppenwolf is here trying to get mother boxes. Let's not let that happen. It's everything you think it's going to be. But with that being said, it had this underlying message of like hope throughout the movie. They kept referencing the death of Superman throughout the movie, which I expected them to do. But outside of that, and it was supposed to be like, well, it's the hope of even without the Man of Steel, everybody's gonna fight and defend their planet, and it was good. But the problem with that is that Steppenwolf he had the same effect of Malekith from Thor: The Dark World, and what I mean by that is it was just like, well, you were there. I can see why you're a challenge, but it's not like it was. Eh, you could have been more. You were pretty par for the course. Not anything. There's nothing really special about Steppenwolf. So this message they have of like hope and despair. I was just like, I felt like they could take him out without Superman. To be honest, probably they couldn't have, but who knows. But it certainly did feel like they could have took him out without Superman. But the way they introduced Superman in the movie was fantastic. It was great. If you're a Superman fan, oh, you'll love it. It's not what you're thinking. It's not even what you're trying to think of now. But the way Superman gets reintroduced, it was some of the best superhero media I've seen in a long time. They really did Superman justice. I love it. I loved every second of it. Superman himself was really good in the movie. He's in the movie about as long as you think he is, but he had some pretty good one-liners. He was pretty good. For the amount of screen time he had, he walked away as one of my favorite characters in that movie. Aquaman, God, so dope. I fucking love him. Aquaman was great. Wonder Woman was glamorous. They didn't. I was so afraid this movie was gonna hit me with the Wonder Woman treatment. I hate that movie's action sequence. And this movie was not like it. This is your Zack Snydery balls to the wall action-y movie that you want it to be. Aquaman was great. Flash was great. And he's in the goddamn Batman was fantastic, everybody. Bruce Wayne was great in this movie. I loved him. Batman was awesome, but Bruce Wayne kicked ass in this movie. I don't know. Overall, it was a fun ride. It was a great watch. No one really gave a bad performance. I can tell there's stuff missing because some of the supporting characters only show up in a few scenes, and then they don't. You don't feel like they have a lot of significance, but you felt like there was more to these supporting characters. But I understand they had to trim the movie down because Warner Brothers said so. Uh, the movie's message of hope, like I said, it kind of just like, because I really didn't feel the despair from Steppenwolf. I would say as a villain, I did not feel the despair. I think his dialogue was great. His action scenes are pretty good. He definitely brought some pretty dope ass action to the movie. But I was watching it. I don't know. It's just like, I guess because this is a comic book movie and he's just moved by the Justice League. I guess you just know they're gonna win, and maybe that's what it was. But really, ultimately, I didn't feel like he was the unstoppable threat the movie made him out to be. I think they failed to deliver that. I think he didn't seem as undefeatable as the movie would want you to believe he is. Outside of that, like I said, but we go to some pretty good locations, but I can't say too much because I'm trying not to spoil shit. That's the hard part, so I guess I just leave it there. Yeah, overall, great movie. If I were to rank the DCEU in this so far, okay, Man of Steel would be number one. Then I'll put Justice League, then Suicide Squad, then Batman v Superman, then Wonder Woman. The only reason why I put Justice League over, Suicide Squad over, under Justice League and Man of Steel, because I know Man of Steel and Justice League are better movies overall. But I do enjoy Suicide Squad probably the most. But this movie was fantastic. This movie was fantastic. Like I said, in Man of Steel, and I'll give it an example, with Theora and Zod, respectively, in Urtuk or whatever his name was, I can't remember. I felt the threat. I felt the threat. In Justice League, I really did not feel the threat. It felt about as disposable as the Chitauri army was in Avengers. And that's one of my greatest, that's one of the greatest things I dislike about the Avengers movie so much. Is that, like, granted, I can tell this is a threat, but I'm just like, it doesn't really feel like it because overall the heroes don't seem to be having too hard of a time. You know what I mean? It was just like, beat up the armies and stop Loki. Great eye candy, but that threat was not there with Steppenwolf. Unfortunately, I didn't feel it. Maybe some people walked away with a different feeling than me, but it just seemed kind of like fluff. Like we just wait until we get on to the better things down the line, you know. But Justice League is fantastic. I loved it. There's a scene in the movie I really want to talk about. It was so good. Oh my god. But this movie was great. I loved it. Honestly, out of the superhero movies that came out this year, being Wonder Woman, Logan, Guardians, the only movie I like more than Justice League that came out this year, Thor, all that, is Spider-Man. It's Homecoming. That's it. Justice League was great. I loved it. It's your boy, Sophus Hell Hydra.